Brodes Media.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Before we dive into the action, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button as well. We break down the Flyers, the Sixers, the Phillies, the Eagles nonstop every single damn day. So join the community. I appreciate it so much. If you're buying tickets to any of these games, hockey, basketball, if you're lucky enough to be in the area where your baseball team is still attacking the season, getting to the World Series, you can utilize the promo code Brodes at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off. That's essentially eliminating all of those fees. It's a no-brainer. Get yourself some tickets today. Utilize that code. It's a no-brainer. With that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. I just got back from the Wells Fargo Center, and I honestly did not know what type of crowd to anticipate tonight. It's a Saturday night, so you thought, okay, there would be a lot of people there. But knowing it's the Florida Panthers, and look, we understand as hockey fans that they are a very special team that have a ton of talent. But at the end of the day, the franchise, the Florida Panthers, just don't pop. You can ask a lot of casuals and a lot of just standard people around the city of Philadelphia. And when I say standard people, I'm just saying in terms of hockey fans or not hockey fans, just casuals out there. Anything about the Florida Panthers, they don't even have anything to tell you. So I didn't know what to truly expect from an atmosphere standpoint. But I will admit it was jumping in there. There was a lot of juice. Now, a lot of it was towards the referees, and there was one referee out there, two linesmen, because of an issue. But the boos came raining down late, although I can make the argument that they were absolutely 1,000% wrong to boo the referee because aube-kubel clearly went knee to knee to cause a tripping. And Nate Thompson clearly threw 3 punches and a slash to go to the box when they were down 3-2 with just a little bit of time left. So my issue tonight, penalties. You got to stay out of the box, and a lot of them were unacceptable. I just mentioned 2 that disgusted me. Ivan Provorov at the end of the second period with only about 15 seconds left to go or so. You know, that just cannot happen. So you consistently shoot yourself in the foot. You could talk about the PK numbers all you want and killing off certain penalties. At the end of the day, though, this is not a recipe for success, and this can't happen. I will admit, though, big picture, you battle this way, and the end score was 4-2, but there was an empty net involved. You were going into the third period. If you win a period, you win a game. You battled, you competed. I did not have an issue with their effort out there, even though once we start peeling back the layers, yes, I will criticize some players. I thought Travis Sanheim, had some moments where he needs to be sharper. There's a 3-on-2, Ristolainen and Sanheim defending the rush. The pass goes through both defensemen, goes backdoor. There's a big goal, ties up the game. 26 seconds to go in the second period. Can't happen. The Flyers had pressure late when they were down 1 goal, and their top line, G, Cootsie, TK, moving the puck well, generating chances. And I'm watching Ristolainen and Travis Sanheim up at the top of the blue line move the puck back and forth. And one of my initial thoughts was, I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable with these two out there. And I remember when they made the trade for Ristolainen, I felt, okay, it's not going to be that bad. And I don't know if this is a Ristolainen issue, a Sanheim issue, or a combination of both. But I'm starting to believe it's more a Sanheim thing. And I've defended Travis Sanheim. I just thought that by now we'd be looking at a different style of play. We'd be looking at a player that took an extra leap in his game. And if anything, he's honestly might be going in the wrong direction. Where it's not as if he's just staying neutral. He might be actually taking a step back. Is it a D-partner issue? Is it an individual issue? Is it a combination of both? Initially, though, I'm seeing Ryan Ellis not playing, and I go, wow, Justin Braun. One of the reasons why last year was so miserable is because you were forced to play players who don't deserve to be top-minute guys in top-minute spots. Shane Gostisbehere, Justin Braun. But that was the farthest thing from the issue was Justin Braun and Ivan Provorov. So what I thought was going to be something that made my eyeballs bleed was not what made my eyeballs bleed. It was more just the issues with the way that they shot themselves in the foot by taking so many dumb penalties. When Cam Atkinson scored that shorthanded goal, the place was electric. 5-hole beauty on Bob. Opened up his 5-hole, slipped it right through. The Claude Giroux clap bomb that sniped top left was magnificent. That was a power play goal, and his clapper has been sensational this year. A lot of extra oomph involved. A lot of power, picking corners, hard, velocity. Perfect. Gee, sensational. But I'm also upset with some of these veterans as well. Keith Yandel, top of the power play, third period to allow Florida to score a shorthanded goal. Special teams unit was bizarre tonight in a lot of different areas on both sides of the ice. But here's Keith Yandel, and he's just throwing the puck in space where nobody's at. There's no sense of urgency to get back. It's a 2-on-1, and Huberdeau gets a breakaway on Carter Hart. He makes the initial save, but then there was a weird angled shot that ended up hitting Carter Hart's pad and finding the back of the net. That was to give the Panthers that 3-2 lead in the third period. So hiccups along the way for sure. Big picture, you went 2-1-1 at home. The way Claude Giroux explained it was, it wasn't a terrible homestand, but that was a winnable hockey game. And I'm paraphrasing, but, that's a winnable hockey game, and that's the difference in having an excellent homestand or not. And I couldn't agree more. It's only a handful of games into the season. I'm not going to insanely criticize the team. I think that, so far through the first couple of games here, I'm pleasantly surprised with their swagger, their attitude, their approach. There's a lot of captains and a lot of teams that might say, you know what, I'm satisfied with this. Well, Claude Giroux saying, it's okay. I want more. I demand more. We're better than this. We have more in us. That was a winnable game against a very good team to make a solid statement. And that's the right approach from the captain. That seems to have a little bit of extra push in him this year. I'm telling you, my father's one of those I hate Claude Giroux people. And there's way too many I hate Claude Giroux people. When you watch him play and you see him battle out there the way that he does, I just don't understand how you can despise this individual. It honestly makes no sense to me. So, kind of rolling through some of my notes. To begin in the first period, it was actually really brutal. Icing after icing after icing. But the top line gets stuck out there, and somehow, some way, Travis Konechny and Sean Couturier get a nice opportunity there, but Bob gets a pad on it. I saw some good offensive zone time early in the first as well, after there was a surge by the Panthers to start things off. Once the game settled in a little bit, great puck movement in the offensive zone, going from low to high, and then utilizing the high slot to operate with some space, finding Travis Konechny, looking for Claude Giroux backdoor. It ends up, I believe that one was the one that got intercepted. Yeah, it did. It got intercepted in the slot area, eventually looking for Claude Giroux backdoor, but it was the way that going from high to low and utilizing the cycle and finding the high slot area, that's a recipe for success long term of, generating offensive chances, even though the Panthers did defend it well for sure. The first power play of the game was abysmal. The neutral zone was just swarmed in. I have to give credit to the Florida Panthers. That's what they do. They are very good in that area, but they could not generate any sort of offensive zone time. And when Travis Sanheim was out there with Ivan Provorov because Ryan Ellis was not available, he's settling for drop passes right inside the blue line, and it gets picked off, sent down the other way. The Panthers get time. Sometimes they look backwards and they rag it, which kills time off the clock, and just no sense of urgency there as well. A JVR moving up the ice, flying in the first period. I thought to myself, was that JVR? I had to question, was that JVR flying like that? He got to the puck right at the goal line, threw a tough angle shot on net. It almost went far post. I did the double take. What? What number was that? I had to look up at the screen because in the press box, they have the screens above you. You can see the replay as it's a little bit delayed from the action on the ice in front of you. And I'm like, wow, that was JVR. He was buzzing. Absolutely 1,000% buzzing. Sanheim, blatant interference. Sealer, blatant interference as soon as the Sanheim interference call was finally killed off. And then, the Panthers took that lead in the first period. Huberdeau, after an offensive zone draw by the Panthers, was won. He ended up taking a wicked wrister there that beat Carter Hart short side. It looked as if there was a screen involved where he couldn't necessarily see it the way that he would have liked to. In terms of Carter Hart's game, I have no real issues with it. I thought that he left everything out there. He made some big-time saves. There were many times where I thought, okay, he's very poised, looked in control. I'm not going to tell you perfection, but definitely nothing that I can really argue with too much. And there's a lot of problems when you think of these penalties, not only just from you're on a 5-on-4 and you have to kill it off perspective, but how about this is actually generating some issues in terms of you can't get going because you can't roll your lines the way that you want to roll your lines. You're not getting flow with your line structure because, well, you got to put two guys together and one guy's sitting, get your PK units out there. It's a tough spot to get some offensive rhythm going. And speaking of rolling lines, I thought this was hilarious to start the second period. The Flyers started out in their D zone and there was a lot of issues happening. And I watched the fourth line go out. And I'm wondering, why are we doing this? You just watched issues defensively. You watched the Panthers cycle the puck down low, beat you consistently. We're going fourth line. But what do I know? Here's the fourth line in the offensive zone cycling the puck beautifully to the point where they had a magnificent shift. They earned a power play, and the Flyers actually score from that power play. That's the one where Claude Giroux had the ripper, top shelf. What a snipe. But I'm just cracking up internally. I'm going, you just saw your team get abused, right? You would think, hey, let's go with a line that I trust, maybe try and build some momentum. Fourth line after that tough shift? All right. Well, yeah, all right. Good cycling down low. See, I have so many ups and downs and peaks and valleys with that fourth line tonight. Aube-Kubel had a mini breakaway, had some separation by half a step, but he follows that up with a disastrous penalty. He also, late in the third, outside of that breakaway, golden opportunity 2 feet away. Can't complete the mission with just under 5 minutes to go. So for all the positive, there was some negatives. And there was a late surge by the Flyers. Top line did some action there. There was a beautiful weave entering the zone between Joel Farabee and Cam Atkinson, where Farabee picks up the puck. Cam Atkinson goes to that backside. It looked like he almost tried to hit it out of midair. I love that line. I'm actually obsessed with that line. Nothing has changed since the last time we spoke about this team. It really is entertaining. Every time they're out there on the ice, they're buzzing for the most part. So, they couldn't get the job done tonight, unfortunately, but it's self-inflicting wounds that I think that they can clean up. I remember specifically talking about where was it? I wrote, hopefully this is a teaching moment. Let's see. Where did I say this? I love this note I put down here. Nate Thompson, hooking penalty in the defensive zone. Has great hair, though, for what it's worth. Because I saw him go into the box, and he's sitting there shaking his head as he was clearly upset with the call. But he had luscious locks. Just flow going down the back of his jersey. There's nothing better than flow touching the back of the sweater across the nameplate. I love his look during the no Bucky warmies, too. Just skating around, maybe jumping in the glass a little bit, throwing some pucks on net, getting some good strides going, breaking a sweat. Not that that's the moral of the story here, that Nate Thompson has good hair, but it is the truth. Oh, here's the teaching moment. Good teams smell blood and pounce, and I was referring to Florida at this point. You got to be sharper to finish out that second period. Hopefully just a teaching moment in a young season. Got to be better, and I always use this when I was playing, and a lot of my coaches did as well, first 5, last 5, which is first 5 of each period, last 5 of each period. You got to be on your toes, and you got to recognize time and space, time and awareness, what the score is, what the period is, how much time's left, who's out there for them, structured in the D zone. If you're up 1, protect the lead, play smart. Let the period end, right? I'm not saying don't take any chances and play super soft and be on your heels, but I'm just saying recognize. You're up. You can enter the third period with 20 miles to go. Reset. Instead, it's tied, and you have to play the role of win a period, win a game. compared to being up and there's different leverage involved. That upset me a little bit for sure. And yeah, I mean, hopefully it is a teaching moment. And I'm thinking of teaching moments. If I'm a young player, I'm studying everything Sean Couturier does. I remember early first period, Claude Giroux had one of his better chances there to that point of the game. He was in the high slot. He let it rip, and that wouldn't have happened. And it was the top line. Travis Konechny was involved. He slid it over from the wall. Sean Couturier drives the net, and he takes the defenseman with him. I pointed this out when Travis Konechny scored the other night against Boston to give the Flyers an extra goal there for some advantage and for some breathing room. It wouldn't have happened without that 2-on-2 with Sean Couturier driving the net and creating that separation. So when Travis Konechny enters their offensive zone, they have that time. They have the ability to deliver that wrister. Well, sitting there wide open the way that he was is all generated because of Sean Couturier driving the net. Those are little details. They're little things. That doesn't pop up anywhere on the stat sheet. That's not recognized by most people who are just watching where the puck is going and seeing if it finds twine or not. But without that happening, it's sort of like with basketball, with pin down screens and this and that. There's so much action being ran and happening around the floor that creates the separation for a shooter to kind of get open. We watch it with J.J. Redick. We can see it with Seth Curry at times. The way that they run around out there on the court and people are setting screens and come around the screen, you find the ability to get open because of it. It's what's happening surrounding the puck. What can you do without the puck that can really help your team thrive? And I mean, Sean Couturier, there's a reason why we look at his AAV as somewhat of a steal, somewhat of a snag, because he can do it all and he plays the 200-foot game as well. So, one area of something to study was just the D-core in general without Ryan Ellis. Not as good with it than without it. I heard Al Morganti say that on the post-game show, and I was laughing a little bit where, it's like, oh, what'd you think of the D-core? Well, with him, it's a lot better than without him. But yeah, you're damn right, especially with the power play units. There's a reason why I've stressed it a billion times now. There's a difference when Provorov has been running the top of the peeper in years past, and you had some veteran presence out there. And, ironically enough, as I say that, Keith Yandel makes a crucial mental mistake by tossing it into an area where nobody was, and that was basically all she wrote, which is just sad. So very odd, strange game. Shorthanded goals on both sides. Power play goals on both sides. One referee out there because of a situation. So just crazy. It really was. Let's see how they respond in this West Coast trip. Just to kind of look ahead here before we get to a little bit of some anytime hotline calls. To look ahead, their next game is on Wednesday against the Oilers. That's a 10 p.m. start. They're good, in case you did not know. A little back-to-back action as they play the Vancouver Canucks 10 p.m. on Thursday night. They play the Flames on Saturday. So this upcoming week, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So they can get revenge against Vancouver. I know this is a little out of date because this was the first game of the season, but I saw a Vancouver fan on TikTok the other day, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's interesting. A Vancouver Canucks fan that talks about their games on TikTok. And remember when Travis Konechny, because they had that late comeback, he ended up getting slashed in the face because they were trying to hit the puck out of midair, and it literally whacked him right in the face area, and he popped his head back, and that helped really bring some noise to the atmosphere and helped with the pushback. They were complaining that the referees made a bad call. What? What are we watching? And that's why even tonight, I know it's your job as a fan to chant, ref, you suck, but there were some blatant, obvious calls that were called, in my opinion. And I even know after the game, AV, during the press conference, a couple of the players mentioned, we didn't love some of them. For the most part, I really didn't have an issue with NAKs. I didn't have an issue with Sanheims. I didn't have an issue with Sealer. I did not have an issue with Nate Thompson's, which was 4 of the penalties. Unfortunately, there were a bunch more as well. Ivan Provorov's I didn't have an issue with. What was the other one? There was the Keith Yandel one, but why is that one not coming to my head exactly what happened there? There was a lot it's not coming to my head, but I remember he got a penalty there. For the most part, though, they all seem like penalties to me, is my point I'm trying to make. All right, we're going to get to some anytime hotline calls in just 1 second. First, NFL fans Are you hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get skin in the game with new same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code Brodes this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Normally, I do a good job at not getting distracted while I have my office TVs on in front of me, but it's the bottom of the eighth inning right now in the NLCS. It's Game 6, and the Atlanta Braves have a 4-2 lead over the Dodgers with the man on second base for Atlanta to see if they have some insurance runs, and there's no denying that I'm secretly trying at the corner of my eye as we speak to see what's going on there because it's been electric for these MLB playoffs. I've done a good job not getting sidetracked and not getting sucked in, but it's tough knowing how big this moment is, and it's staring at me right in the face. And with that said, we're going to take some calls while I look at the side of my eye. Here we go.
Tough one tonight, disheartening way to end the homestand, especially with the tough Western Canada trip coming up. Just too many mistakes by the Flyers. I mean, you can't take that many penalties in a game, even with trash officiating. Our first power play of the game was dog shit, and the last power play in the game when it was tied was dog shit, and you give up the game-winning goal. I'll criticize two players in particular who deserve to be criticized. Travis Sanheim, once again. You have got to clear that puck at the end of the second period that tied up the game. It's inexcusable to let that pass go across the crease. Get your skate or your body in front and block it. And is there a player in the NHL that gets more offensive zone penalties than Nicholas Aube-Kubel? Don't be surprised if he, if nobody else, isn't in the lineup in Edmonton on Wednesday.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's fair. I think both of those criticizes, the two people you criticize, that's absolutely fair. NAK, he always bothered me. He's not a very smart player. He takes a lot of boneheaded penalties, and I will say today he probably flashed a little bit more offensively than he has throughout last season and this season at times. Like, I actually recognize him. I mentioned the breakaway. I mentioned Lade. He was close in the doorstep there to almost bury in, and it was a super close golden scoring opportunity. So he did flash some of his offensive skill, but I wonder, what does this mean when Brown comes back? Because Brown was not available tonight, but someone that they picked up for a reason. I think that he can solidify a fourth-line role for sure. Maybe not every single night, but NAK is definitely somebody that you can take out there. And it's funny, I was talking to someone in the press box tonight about Nate Thompson, and it's like he might have had some issues tonight and a stupid penalty and whatnot, but you get a bigger leash when you're Nate Thompson as a fourth-line veteran player who's been around the block. You can have that happen to you and bounce back because, well, you've been around and you know your role and you know not to do that. And if it continues, then yes, it's something that I would consider. But you get a longer leash when you have been bought into that role and established into that role. NAK, I'm sorry, it's just too many. The other night where Sealer had those fights and whatnot, a lot of that started because of NAK with a dumb penalty that hurt a player. And then, yeah, here comes the spark, here comes the rise. It's just stupid. And the amount of people that reached out to me on Twitter when I tweet, I want to read you the tweet specifically that I tweeted when Nate Thompson threw those jabs. It initially started with a slash, and then after that it became a couple punches. Nate Thompson with a dumpster fire decision to throw 3 punches to the head after the whistle. Dumb. Flyers back to the PK. Now, my boy Nat Marlowe, who used to work with me at the Fanatic, he tweeted at me and said, that was the play that made my girlfriend want a Nate Thompson jersey with the cracking up emoji, which just makes me laugh. Nat's a beauty. But here's one. Was it? I like it. And then another one. At least someone's trying to defend our goalie. In what universe is that a good mindset? Like, those are the type of people that just don't understand hockey. Yeah, screw it. Just punch them. Yeah, protect Carter Hart. It's a 3-2 game against a very good team in Florida who have not lost yet, and you have an opportunity to fight. Like, what are you doing? You have an opportunity to fight back and win this game, and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by taking a penalty. It's dumb. Carter Hart can protect himself at times. All right, there's times where it's valid and there's validity to stepping up for your netminder. Nate Thompson doing it there was flat out stupid. It was flat out stupid. And that's where there's fans in hockey that I just don't understand. It's that old mob mentality of, the fights. Yeah, all the fights. I like fights. There's reason for fights, but then people take it to an extreme, and this is one where it's like, oh yeah, I value someone not hitting my goalie's glove in a 3-2 game more than I do staying 5-on-5 to give yourself a fighter's chance to actually compete and win this game back instead of having to kill off another penalty when they took 7 total. It's crazy to me. In terms of Sanheim, I'm extremely underwhelmed. I have been saying that fans have been too hard on him over the last handful of years, and I think that that's still a fair assessment. At some point, though, I expected him to take a better, strong, structured approach. And if anything, it's been the complete opposite. He doesn't look confident out there, and he doesn't look smooth. That 3-on-2, forwards have to help out as well when there's an odd man rush, but Ristolainen, I mean, the puck, it happened to go through a tiny space. There's no doubt about it. But you have to be stronger on your stick if you're Sanheim once that gets past Ristolainen initially, who had his stick on just off puck, just a half a second, but he was shadowing the puck as the Panthers entered the zone. Speaking of Ristolainen, he got rocked pretty good at the end of the first period. Pretty damn good. The opponent, 6'4", 209. I had to make sure it was a big body. I wanted to see how big exactly, because if Ristolainen's getting hit to the ground, what's happening here? You know what I'm saying? All right, let's take another one.
Can't be mad about the way that we played tonight. I mean, there's some people that's probably going to be freaking out. Oh, we choked this game just like the Sixers choked last. No, the Panthers are a good team. We played well. Just a few unfortunate mistakes did us in this game. Got to stop taking so many penalties. It would have been nice if we win this game, because now we got to go to Edmonton and we're going to have to deal with Draisaitl, McDavid, and their whole team of all-stars. Would have been nice to win this game, but you got to move on. We played well enough to win. Just a few mistakes. Florida's good.
I don't disagree with your overall thought, but I do think you're just a little too easy on them where, they played good enough to win. Maybe, but they did shoot themselves in the foot 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and I don't know how much you can win when you do that at the same time. So your overall tone, though, I think is fair, just like what your end goal, your end result is. Look, the Flyers played a really good team, and it wasn't as if they were outmatched insanely. You're absolutely right. They were not outmatched, and they were missing Ryan Ellis. Imagine maybe what it could have been like with a different power play unit out there when they did get some power play chances. Maybe the first one wouldn't have looked so miserable. Maybe the Keith Yandel play wouldn't have happened if that was the case, because Ellis would have gotten a nod or something along those lines. Who knows how things would have changed. So you're right. The end result is exactly the same as mine, which is it's not a huge deal. I guess you just seem a little bit softer than I do. And it's funny to hear the different tone in these two calls. One is like, you have to stay out of the box. Ristolainen, NAK. Or, Sanheim, NAK. No. And the other one's like, hey, don't worry about it. Calm down. And at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. We're still happy with where this team is at. But I like the way Claude Giroux approached it as well, which is, okay, 2-1-1. This could have been an exclamation point, and I expect an exclamation point, which is what I want to hear from my leader. By the way, the Anytime Hotline is brought to you by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, Orbit Energy and Power is home to your solar experts in residential and commercial projects. At Orbit, they're dedicated to making sure your project is completed easily and properly. Orbit also provides water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, electrical upgrades, new roofs, heating and cooling, and so much more. So make sure you check out their information at orbitenergy.us or call 800-836-3987. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Sports Talk with Brodes, and I will see you next time.